Well, good afternoon, SLAE family. It is great to be back today, and I have a special guest who is going to give us phenomenal business tips. Tuning in from Arizona today, we are very blessed to have none other than Bridget Brooks here today. Bridget, thank you so much for being here.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm super honored to be here. Hello, SLAE friends. I'm super excited to be part of the community.
Oh, thank you so much. For all of you, Bridget is really an expert in digital advertising. She has an extensive background. She's going to talk to us a lot about that today. Started off with Facebook and Groupon and got a lot of experience, and even let the cat out of the bag that she's got some old school experience with the yellow pages. Now, I just dated myself knowing what that is. Some of our people will not know what that is. But Bridget, maybe you can take a second, tell everybody a little bit about your background and how you started your company. I think we love to hear from entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. So, starting my background, growing up, I was like the little kid on the team who always sold the most, right? I always had very much like that sales spirit about me. And as I grew into like my career, I was working in some type of marketing or advertising in anything that I did. In fact, one of my very first jobs, I worked in a sales office selling small hand tools and safety equipment to general contractors sight unseen, all by phone. So it was,
Wow.
I've always just been that kind of people person. And as I grew into it, it became more and more marketing. And I ended up landing, when I was 20 years old, I ended up landing a job with the Yellow Pages. And that was really like my first introduction to advertising as a whole. And the Yellow Pages now, like, I can't imagine going back and trying to sell someone a double truck now in the Yellow Pages when we have digital advertising. But as the industry got to grow, I got to grow with it, which is really, really unique that as the industry changed to this digital world, I got to just move right along with it. And what that meant is I actually got to work for Facebook as an ad creation specialist, and I was teaching medium to large size businesses how to advertise on the platform successfully. So if you'll remember back to 2014 and 2015, this is when the smart TVs were just starting to come out, when sound sticks were just starting to be popular. And I ran Sony and Vizio's campaigns, Sony's for their smart TV and Vizio for their sound stick, when I worked for Facebook. So I was really fortunate with that. And then I dabbled in some other areas. I was actually poached from Facebook to Groupon, and I was a global merchant advertiser with Groupon for a few years. And it was fun, but it wasn't where I was supposed to be. I didn't get to serve how I was looking to serve, right? And I didn't get to serve my family. I was dropping my kids off at 6 a.m. in the morning and picking them up at 6 a.m. at night. And I was like, this is no life for, especially at that time, I was a single mom.
Wow.
So I got into the real estate industry, and I was like, okay, I'm going to become a realtor and I'm going to go get my real estate license. And I struggled really hard to pass the real estate test, the school real estate test. And in that time frame, I was actually approached by a title company, right? And they were looking for marketing reps. And so for about 4 years, I worked as a title marketing rep. And in that time frame, I was with 3 different companies. And the last company I was with actually fired me. They fired me because I couldn't compose a proper email. And at the time, I was completely devastated, but I was also backed into a corner and I needed to make money. And I knew that I had this skill with advertising. So why not just step out on my own? So in 2018, I started Velt & Co. We just hit our 5-year anniversary.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Yes, we hit a multi-6-figure business within our first year of business.
Wow.
So that's why I was like,
slow down for a minute. That's a huge accomplishment to do that so quickly. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Let that sink in. Okay, continue.
Well, and it was like, at the time I was so devastated because I couldn't compose this email, right? Thank you.
You know what? Things happen for a reason. Sometimes
Right.
God closes one door, so you'll open up another one.
So really I still can't compose a proper email. Don't expect it from me. But I do have a team with me that will do that, that will takes care of that end. But that's what really drove me to open Velt & Co. And Velt & Co. is a full service digital ad agency. And we really focus on taking you and your client through the entire process of a seamless transaction and a smooth transaction from the digital aspect.
So let's kind of dive into digital advertising, Facebook, et cetera. First thing is, one of the things I know that you and I talked about was compliance. Why compliance? Can you take a minute and expand on that?
So yes, I will scream it from the rooftops every single time. And that is, make sure you understand the rules of the platform you're on, whether you're using that in a social aspect or you're using it in a business aspect, you have to know the rules. So often I have people that come to me and their ad account's been shut down and they're like, but I don't even know what I did wrong. And I'm like,
yes,
you read the rules? Do you know what the ad policies are? Because when you do know what those are, it's really easy to know exactly what rule you violated and what rule you're being shut down for. And even further than that, Facebook, we'll just focus on Facebook specifically. They offer what's called a Facebook transparency report. And in that transparency report, they tell you every quarter what they will be focusing on from a not disciplinary standpoint, but from a
like the compliance issue you're saying?
yes, like from a like patrolling standpoint, right?
Enforcement, how about that?
Yes, that's exactly it. From an enforcement standpoint. So every quarter they put out a report that says, okay, these are the areas we're going to be looking at closely and enforcing heavily. And these are the areas we're not going to be enforcing heavily. And a great prelude to that is you see this happen every time there is a new president coming into office, when we're in the middle of a political campaign, right?
Wow.
Every November, you see the rules on Facebook start to do this. Every fourth November, I should say, every 4 years, right?
Yeah.
They start to get really strict and really confined because we're in political season. And that's when a lot of misinformation happens, a lot of bad news gets spread, those type of things. But Facebook will tell you exactly what to do and how to do it and what not to do and how not to do it.
So if somebody is your client, then they also have the advantage that that's all, I will say this very politely, your problem, and you track all that for them, right?
It is. And that's one of the benefits of actually working with me and my agency, is that we are a Facebook agency partner. So that means that we have a account manager inside of Facebook, that anytime there is any type of these issues, I'm able to go to them and say, hey, this is what my client's dealing with. This is what we've done to rectify it. And sometimes it's just bugs. Facebook is rolling out a whole plethora of AI options right now, especially in the ad platforms, that bugs do happen, right? And anybody that knows anything about a software as a business, bugs happen. So when we see those bugs, not only am I there as one of their first line of defenses to say, hey, this is what's happening on the outside, but I'm able to make sure that my clients get the most tender love and care and get the results that they're looking for because I have someone on the inside.
Outstanding. And you mentioned AI. Let's talk about AI. How does that impact all of this? What is the unknown factor, good and bad, when it comes to AI being mixed into this conversation?
Yeah. So my thought process with AI is the same with any type of digital and technology. And that is that we're never going to stop advancing. There's always going to be something that we feel a little bit uncomfortable about, that is a little bit new, that we're a little bit unsure about. And in today's market, that's AI. Last year at this time, it was Meta in the metaverse, right? So there's always going to be that. What you have to decide is, what mind frame are you looking at this from? Are you looking at it from a negative standpoint, or are you looking at it from a positive standpoint? Because either standpoint that you look at it from, you're going to be able to find that.
That's an incredible way of dealing with it, because your perspective is everything. And what about automation? How is that unique?
So I think automation is probably my favorite, because what automation allows us to do in our business is do it once and then never have to do it again, but repeat the process and give that same individualized care to each in particular client, right? So one of my favorite things with for automation in my business, you scheduled a call with me for us to be on this podcast today. And when you scheduled that call, I had no idea when you scheduled it. You got immediately a text from me, immediately an email from me, just like if it was me on the other end.
It was
And that's
remarkable.
really,
Yes.
yeah, that's really what allows us to be solo entrepreneurs, full entrepreneurs, business owners that have to wear multiple hats, is allowing to put the automation and systems into your business.
Outstanding. Now, if you mentioned before you had gone into real estate, I think you work with a lot of realtors as well, don't you?
I do. My two main clients that I work with are coaches and real estate agents, and they are both your higher ticket people, right? High ticket coaches and real estate agents. And a lot of times we see the conversion doesn't happen on the platform. So I have it dialed in. If you have a product that's high ticket and the conversion doesn't happen on the platform, I know how to run Facebook ads for you.
Excellent. So you're helping them take leads and convert them into actual business.
Right. What we do is we move them seamlessly through the sales process from possible prospect all the way through conversion.
Fantastic. And when people hire you in your company, is it a month to month? Is it a contract for a year? How does that piece of it function?
So what I don't, I'll do retainers, but here's the thing with me is that everybody in this industry looks different, talks different, and has different needs. I'm not going to create a program that's going to be suited to one fits all, because it will never work for one fits all.
Makes
Everybody
sense.
is very different and we need to be catered to their needs. So each package that I built is built very specific to that particular client's need. Now, with that being said, I can only take a certain handful of clients each month.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you got your work cut out. Now, one of the things I was very excited you were going to do is not only share a little bit about technology and how things are changing and what to look out for, but you also said you would share the 5 big mistakes. So if we
Yeah,
could talk about that and how that pertains, that would really be helpful for anybody who's listening in or watching today.
absolutely. So these are the top 5 mistakes that I see people making with Facebook ads in particular. And if I could wave a magic wand, probably for 75 to 80% of my clients, and just fix these 5 mistakes, they would be able to run profitable ads on their own.
Okay, perfect. Let's do them nice and slow. Let's start off. Number 1.
So the very first one is targeting. One of the biggest mistakes is not properly defining who your target audience is. Facebook can provide you with a wide range of options for targeting. And that includes demographic, interest, and behaviors.
Mhm.
And they'll even offer you custom audiences. So failing to narrow down your audience is going to result in really wasted ad spend and low conversion costs.
Okay, great.
So second,
Yes.
this is probably my favorite, and that's the lack of compelling ad creatives. So your ads and the creatives in your ads play a crucial role in capturing attention of your audience. Crucial, right? Many advertisers make the mistake of using low quality images, generic copy that everybody's using that doesn't stand out, and investing in like the high quality visuals and creating compelling copy is really where you're going to stop the scroll. A perfect example of this, and it kind of goes back into the first thing we talked about, which was compliance. I had a coach who taught doctors and lawyers how to get their student loan completely absorbed, right, from going to school. Well, if you know anything about the Facebook platform, you can't say anything about loans, let alone student loans, right? So we got creative with our copy. And in our copy, when we were talking about student loans, we referred to them as monthly student loans. And everybody knew what we were talking about, but we were still within compliance and we were still using creative copy. So that's where you really have to lean in heavily into your copy and your creative to make sure that you're still able to get your point across, but follow in compliance.
Well, that makes a ton of sense, because if you narrow down your audience and you get your demographic, but you're not able to get through to them with the right message, you're kind of dead in the water. So that's number 2. Take us to number 3. What's number 3, please?
Ignoring the relevance and quality scores. In Facebook particular, when you run your ads, they'll give you a relevant and quality score. And these will be anywhere from average, above average, and below average. Those are the 3 type of scores that you can get. You have to watch those. And if at any point that you drop below average or to below average, then you need to shut down your ads and start over again. At that point, Facebook is telling you all you're doing is feeding me no money and you're not getting anything back.
And they actually need to stop, not just edit it, but they need to stop and start again.
Yeah. And one golden rule of thumb, now listen up, guys, because this is a major knowledge bomb, is that you don't edit your ads. Anytime you need to edit your ad, you shut the ad down, you duplicate it, you make the edits and the duplication, and then publish it.
And why is that?
Because everything's working on optimizing the algorithm to work in your favor, right?
Mhm.
So if we put a display of data in front of the algorithm and we ask it to optimize it, and then as it's trying to optimize, we go in and start playing with that data, the algorithm gets lost and it doesn't understand what we're trying to tell it.
That is a knowledge bomb. Okay, let's hit the next one.
So number 4 is neglecting to properly track. I had put up a post on my Facebook the other day that said nobody sees progress when they fail to track facts, right? So when you're not tracking your measurement and setting up and properly tracking your measurement, of course, you're not going to see anything in return. You won't know what your return on ad spend is. You don't know what your cost per click is. You don't know what your cost per million is. And all of these will just automatically lead you to believe that your campaign's not working, when in fact, it could be a very profitable campaign that just needs a very small tweak. And you don't know that because you're not tracking it correctly.
Outstanding. Okay. And last but not least, number 5. What is that?
Yes. And this is probably my favorite, and that's not utilizing testing and optimization. I say that the one golden rule of ads, it doesn't matter if you're running ads on Facebook or on Google or on AdCritter or Taboola or anywhere else, you always have to be testing. And that's when people, for whatever reason, they don't think to test. They will be like, okay, I've got the perfect ad creative. I've got the perfect ad copy. Let me go throw some money at it and put it up. When in reality, if they put up 3 ad creatives and 3 copies, there could be a different one that really resonates with their audience and they just don't know.
Outstanding. Well, those are 5 fabulous tips and mistakes to look out for. And Bridget, if somebody does want to contact your company, can you give out your website and information, please?
Absolutely. So you can definitely follow me on just about all the socials. You can find me at Your Friendly Ads Boss. And then for my website, that would be valton.co. And that's a V as in Victor, ALTON.co.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank
For
you.
those of you listening on the podcast, we're really happy to have you here. Please subscribe and share so people can learn from Bridget. And if you're happening to be tuning in on our Facebook group or on YouTube, please leave her a comment or question and she will get back to you with all of that. So thanks, everyone. And we will be back live next week. Thanks so much, Bridget. Take care.
Bye-bye.